slight bit of technical difficulties, but we're online now. So welcome to our Thursday talk series. For everybody that is on Zoom, you have a special treat. Judy Rogers is with us today to take us through our topic. And all of you that are on YouTube and Facebook, so glad that you're here and you come every week to join us. So we do have a program that's coming up on this weekend. So once Judy goes through this workshop, if you want to see more, please join us on Saturday for a workshop on tools for spiritual tools for everyday life. So that should be a very interesting interactive workshop, and we encourage you to join us. But today we're going to have Judy talk about from discontentment to contentment. And I know many of you, just from, even if you just glance at the news, you'll see a lot of what's going on. And it can actually, if you're not discontent, it may make you discontent. So Judy will walk us through that. And she always has a really just a deep spiritual way of helping each one of us understand and transform for ourselves so that we don't have to take on all the stuff that is going on the outside. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Judy Rogers.
Thank you, Suja. That's a very nice introduction, and hello, everyone, whether I can see you or not. So special hello to Mita. I haven't seen you in a while, but to all of you, nice to see you.
Welcome back, sister.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. It was a big, long trip, but we have lots of snow, so it still feels like winter here. So tonight we're going to talk about discontentment and contentment. So before I start, I thought we would do a little quiz. So let's pretend we have something called a contentment meter, right? And 1 means I'm not contented. Something has stolen my contentment. 5 is I've never been more contented than I am in this moment. So would you just put in the chat, give me a number in the chat so I can see where we stand. Just give yourself a number. 1, okay. Judy's at a 3. That's not bad.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
4.
Sorry, I did not understand about this meeting.
No, let's try again. How contented are you right now, today? So, gosh, we got a 7 from Mita. She's over the top. So, because I have to figure out how much do we need to talk about contentment, and can we just wrap it up in 10 minutes and say, hey, we're all great.
Oh, she just
All right.
thought it was up to 5, sister.
Okay, so we've got Sheila's at a 1. She definitely needs some help tonight. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. So Bodini is at a 4. She's doing well. Vimal at a 4. Judy at a 3. You all are pretty good. Sonia is at an 8 out of a scale of 5. So are you sure we need to talk about contentment? I mean, maybe we need to switch topics here. You all seem to be doing pretty well. Pretty well. Anybody else? Ramila, Joanne, Rakesh, give me some number. 1 is I'm not very contented right now. 5 is I'm really, really good. So let's just see what else we can get here. Om Shanti, Rakesh. Are you contented or not? Manjula, Amrit. Suggest here where you are on the contentment scale. Because once we know how it's a 5. I don't think we need to talk about this. I think we need to tell Suja, forget it. We don't need to talk about contentment. We're all good. We're all fine. We're really good. Ermila's a 6 on a scale of 1 to 5. So why are we talking about?
Oh, I thought the scale was 1 to 10. That's why I said 8. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you want to give me a different number? If the scale's 1 to 5, 5 is I've never been better. 1 is I've never been worse. So give me, or I'm down right now. I'm not very contented right now. Something has robbed me of my contentment. So Ermila, you might not be a 6 then. Are you like a 3? Maybe. Okay. Okay, Sonia, are you still an 8 or are you a 4? Okay, so we got a couple of 3s here. All right, so we have something we can work with. All right, now I'm going to ask you another question, and you can do this with raising your hand with your reaction button, all right? So see if you can figure out what is it that is making you, what's taking away your contentment? So is it your physical body? Is it that you hurt? You have headaches and backaches and all of that. Is that what's taking away your contentment? Okay, Sonia's nodding, yes. That's it. Amrit says yes, physical body. Sheila, yes, that's part of it, physical body. Okay. All right, so we definitely have some of that going on. All right, another option, is it about money? I just am tired of worrying about money. So take your hands down if you were up before and then tell me, is this about money? Is that what's taking your contentment? Okay, Sheila's saying, yeah, it's a little bit about money. Money kind of gets to me. Anybody else worry about money a little bit? Okay, that doesn't seem to be as big for us. How about another person or other people in our lives? Maybe somebody we cannot do anything about. The person, they are permanently in our lives. Let's see your hands on this. Okay, Amrit, yes. We've got that. Sonia's nodding. Other people? Is it other people? Yeah, Suja's saying yep, yep. What about the rest of you? Is it other people? All right, let's try another. Okay, Sheila, Suja, Amrit, other people. Okay, well, here's another one. Is it feelings about myself? I'm disappointed in myself. I'm jealous a little bit. I have bad feelings inside, and they're kind of about myself. Okay, got one of those. Who else? Okay, Sheila, yep. All right, now I'm not sure what's going on with the rest of you because I'm through my my top list and you're still not registering exactly what's robbing your contentment. Maybe you don't know. It's possible. Okay, Sonia's saying a little bit. Okay. So we all know what it feels like to be discontented, right? The heart gets heavy. The mind gets has too many thoughts in it. It gets kind of heavy. It can lead us to feeling kind of restless. We can get depressed, actually. And you can think about it. Sometimes we just hit a rough patch. So we're just in a hard period, right? Something's going on, and right now it's a difficult time. And other times it is a more permanent state. It's really got a hold of us. It's really, really got a hold of us. And we find ourselves really being affected, and that we just, no matter what we do, we can't shake it off. We are feeling this discontentment inside. And if anyone wants to suggest in the chat what else besides the list I gave you, you just tell me, because maybe there's something I didn't mention that you're feeling, like the world outside. That could get to you, right? A little bit. Yeah. Okay. Joanne's saying, yeah, okay. She's feeling pretty contented and at peace. Talks help. World outside, exactly, says Judy. So, okay. So some of it's inside stuff, some of it's outside stuff, some of it's relationships. And so I'm going to suggest to you that there's 3 things that you need in order to shift yourself into a space of contentment. And the first one's pretty short and easy. The second one is a little more, and I'm going to spend some time with that. So the first thing you need is you need a real desire to change this. Okay. So Budini says the world outside and being single after the loss of a spouse. Boy, I get that. Yeah. So the first thing is you have to really want to make the change. Because the things I'm going to describe to you, this isn't like in the magazines where they tell you, go for a walk, put on a good piece of music. You can do all that, but we're going to go into the spiritual aspect of this, right? And that's always a little deeper. So you can put on the music, you can go for a walk, but what I want you to do is really stay with me here and let's talk about what goes on inside. So, the first thing you need is determination. I really want to change this in myself. But the second thing you need is you need some spiritual knowledge. You need to understand certain things because otherwise you won't be able to stay with this. So there's a few pieces of spiritual knowledge. And the first one is called sanskaras. Do you know this word? Some of you are very familiar with this word, some of you not so much. So sanskara is the name of what we would call the imprints on our true self that are creating our personality. So let me give you an example. Let's say that when you were growing up, you had a lot of things happen to you that were very scary, okay? Genuinely frightening things. Maybe it was the neighborhood you lived in. Maybe there was someone in the house who got really angry. Who knows what? So you had an experience that made you afraid. Then you had the feeling of being afraid. And then you had the thought, the world is not a safe place, right? Experience, feeling, thought. Those things went together and they landed inside of you. And they made you have an aspect of your personality that was afraid. Now, this could be true about anxiety. Maybe everybody in the house worried about money. Maybe you had a parent who was worried all the time. Maybe you had to move all the time and you always felt like you didn't have enough old friends around. Whatever experiences you had created a feeling in you and a thought in you and if they happened over and over, they may have become a part of your personality. If they happened once, probably not. But if it was persistent, it could have become a part of your personality. Now, the true self in its original state has only lovely inner experiences, only lovely traits. The true self, before it's had these experiences in the world, is completely peaceful, only knows peace, is completely loving, has never not been loved, is joyful, compassionate, kind, patient. The original true self is in a state of total contentment. But when these experiences happen to us, then we lost some of those sanskars, those original qualities, and we acquired these different qualities. So I may have been very confident. I would certainly have been very confident in my original state. I would have been very peaceful in my original state. But after the experiences I had, I lost my peace and I became peaceless. Now, If you had never known peace, would you want peace? This is a trick question. So if you've never had a lemon meringue pie, could you want one? No, you'd have no idea what it is, so you wouldn't want it, right? If you've never had peace, would you want it? No, you wouldn't. You would say, this is all there is. Whatever I'm living is all there is. You, the true self, had peace. You were completely peaceful and completely loving. And then something took that away, and then you became peaceless. And that created some discontentment, right? Wanting that original state. So if we're going to work with this changing ourselves, we have to understand these inner states and how these sanskars affect us. Because we can change these sanskars. If we couldn't, I wouldn't be talking with you about them, right? I would just say, oh, well, too bad you had a scary childhood. You're stuck. Now you just have to be afraid all the time. But that's not true. You can change those traits, those inner traits. But you have to be very determined, right? So determination is first. Now, under knowledge, the first thing for you to understand is sanskars. So I had these experiences, and I'm carrying with me the imprint of that. Something inside of me has told me that the world is not safe, and I have to therefore be afraid a lot of the time, right? Or the world is not loving. I'm not lovable. They didn't love me. I'm not lovable. I'm unloved in the world, or anxious, right? Whatever it is, whatever your experience was, you are likely carrying that sanskar. So that's the first piece of knowledge, is the sanskar, and the realization that the way the sanskar got created was through experience and feelings and thoughts. But you can create new experience, new feelings, and new thoughts to remedy the old sanskara. We'll need more time than we've got tonight to talk about all the ways to do that, but just hold that thought. Hold the thought that I can create a new experience, new feelings, new thoughts as a treatment, a remedy for that sanskar. I don't have to live my whole life with that sanskar. So that's the first piece of knowledge, okay? And we can go back to any of this if we have time, but I want to lay out a few ideas here for us to work with. The second piece of knowledge that we need if we're going to have a permanent state of contentment is we have to understand the law of karma. Now, we know what karma is, right? Whatever we do comes back to us. And it's inevitable. It is inevitable that it comes back to us. So it brings us, our actions bring us a certain circumstance. Now, just because it brings us a certain circumstance doesn't mean that we don't have choice. I don't want to get too complicated here. You signal me if I'm getting too complicated here. A moment comes at you, right? You get a phone call, someone you love is sick. You get a phone call, your kid's been thrown out of school. You get something happens, right? And that moment comes to you. Now, in some ways, something from the past brought that moment to you, but how you meet that moment writes the script for the road ahead. So just because something difficult happened doesn't mean that we have to take sorrow or go into despair or become discontented. We have an option when that moment comes of meeting that moment from our highest self. Are you with me? Does that sound too tricky? I'll just say,
We can change our reaction.
we can change exactly. So the thing comes to us, the situation comes. So I got the phone call from school. My child's in the principal's office. He's done something really bad and I have to go get him. So one reaction is, I knew this would happen. I knew he was hanging out with the wrong friends. Boy, when I get there, I'm gonna really let him have it, right? That's one reaction. An alternative reaction is the true self, connect up to the source or connect to my best self if I don't know how to do that, pull on my highest, most loving self, and I say, okay, what does this kid is probably feeling really nervous right now. He knows he's made a giant mistake. What am I going to bring to this situation? I'm going to bring love, patience, and understanding. I pull into the school, I go in, I say, honey, you have to come home with me. Whatever's gone on, you and I'll talk about it. I thank the principal. I say, he and I need to have a big conversation. I go home with him, I sit with him, and I say, okay, what's going on for you? Right? I brought as much love as I can to the situation. So what I do, this law of karma, is how I change my world. Because I have to get the return of what I did. Now, this is not to say that if the kid needs a little bit of correction, that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, no more time with those friends. Sorry, you are too lovely to be hanging out with those people. So we're going to reset here, or whatever I'm going to do. I'm not saying you don't correct them, but when you're talking about karma is the word for action, right? It's the Hindi word for action, but it has everything to do with your intention as you're taking the action. If my intention is to show up in the principal's office as a peacemaker, I'm not going to pile on. This kid doesn't need any more punishment or anything else. He's terrified. So I'm going in peace. I'm going in love. And I say to the principal, he's coming with me. Thanks very much. And I say to the kid, come on, come with me. We'll be okay. Now I've met the moment. It was a difficult moment that came to me, but I met it from my highest intention. When I did that, I changed the script, right? I wrote a different script right then because the return of that action I took, the attitude I had, the intention I had, the feeling I had was different. I went in on the high ground. So now what comes back to me is the high ground. So once you understand the principle of karma, then you understand what you're doing with your meditation practice. Why do you show up on these nights for the Manhattan Center talks? Because you're working on your inner self. Otherwise, why not go watch the Oscars or something, right? I mean, if you're trying to make yourself, your character higher, you're trying to make your life better, that's why you sit in meditation. And when you're sitting in meditation, you're taking yourself, your inner self, back to those original states. You don't sit in your meditation and worry, right? You don't sit in your meditation and review all the things you're afraid of. No, you sit in meditation and you say, let me sit in love. Let me sit in peace. Let me sit in joy. And you invoke those innate states of yourself. And you do it every day. every day, not just some days, every day. Because when you get the call from the principal's office, you need to be able to have enough mastery over your mind that you can invoke the state you need. Now, if you've been practicing every day in your meditation practice, love every day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, then when you need to invoke love, it will come. Because you've been doing it every day in your practice. Now that you've brought love into this, now you meet the moment in a different way, right? So this is the second understanding, is the law of karma. First is the sanskars. Second is the law of karma. A third understanding we have to have is that we cannot change anyone else. Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried to change your husband or your mother-in-law or your anything? Did it work? Did they become different?
It's a big disappointment. It's a big disappointment.
It's a big disappointment. I know. We're sure that if we just explained to them clearly, look, you're being a creep. But if you would only do it the way I'm telling you, you would be so lovely and your life would be better. It doesn't work, does it? No, we try and try. So that's not a very good use of our time, trying to change anybody else. It doesn't work. We have one lifetime project. And what is that? What's our lifetime project? Can't change anyone else.
Change our own self.
Ourselves.
That's it. That is it. That's all we can do. All we can do is change ourselves. We can change our own sanskars. We can change our own inner thoughts. We can change our own, as soon as we change our inner thoughts, because one thought sets in motion a whole inside movie, right? If you have one thought about this annoying person in your life, your mother-in-law, your brother, your spouse, or whatever, one thought about them, and there goes that whole movie that plays over and over in your mind about them, right? That whole movie plays again. So we have to change the thought inside so that we play a movie that brings us joy, love, peace, etc. This is why you need determination. Is it easy to change the thought in your mind? What do you think? Is it easy? Change the thought in your mind? Have different thoughts?
Sometimes.
Well, so what I would say is it's easy. It gets easier. That's what I would say. Yeah, from Judy, not always, right. So it's like your meditation practice. If the first time you do it, it feels very clumsy. You know, you're trying to have a loving thought, but you're not feeling very loving. So it feels very forced and very clumsy. But as you stay with it, and this is why the number one rule was determination. You have to really want to change. You have to say, I am not going to live this way anymore. Most people are a little bit too lazy, just to be honest. They're just a little bit internally too lazy, right? Because it's a little bit of work. Your natural thought is, I hate when this one does that. Why do they do that all the time? Why do they keep doing that same thing over and over? I've told them so many times I don't like it. Why do they do that? Now, I've just wasted 20 seconds, right? I can waste 20 hours doing that. And where am I? Right where I was before. So if I've got the determination to change, and I understand that the sanskars, the way they're at work in me, the way they're at work in others, and I understand the law of karma, and I understand I can't change anyone else. So what does that leave me with? That's right. Here's the work. Here's the work right here. So I'm going to suggest to you 3 nice projects that you can do to change yourself. They will bring you contentment. And I think of them as projects. You may think of them differently, but I think they're internal projects. So project number 1 is to move away from wanting limited things and move to gratitude. Now, wanting is a bit of a disease. Sometimes, you find yourself, what are you doing? You're on Amazon and you're clicking along looking at things. Why? If you put the thing in your cart and it ends up in your living room, then you've got to store it and insure it and live with it and all of that, pay for it, right? This wanting cars, wanting houses, wanting vacations, wanting our lives to be different, wanting nothing wrong with a good vision of a good life, but this wanting, this state of wanting, desires automatically means that I don't feel like I have, right? Because if I'm feeling full and contented, I don't have a bunch of wanting. Wanting is incompatible with feeling full and complete. So I have to notice, to what degree do I spend time wanting, desiring things? And I know gratitude sounds very simplistic, but actually this is something there's quite a bit of research on. That when we take the mind, now in this case, each time we're talking about a kind of thought. Imagine that you're going to take a certain thought and you're going to give it to your mind. So instead of the wanting thought, you're going to give your mind the thought of gratitude. I am so lucky. Look how far I've gotten in life, and actually I'm not on medication. Or I am so lucky, I've got a loving family. Or I am so lucky that I live in a place where I feel safe. Or I am so lucky that I can walk outside and go for a walk whenever I want, right? I mean, you figure out where your space of fortune is. When you claim the thing that you feel fortunate about, that takes you towards contentment. Sonia, what are you thinking? Be sure to
Yes, but then that's because I have that. I want to change the other person to also have. That's my problem. And I know I cannot change the other person. I know he has a different time, but this thought keeps coming back. And
that will have to do with my second project. So just wait just a minute.
okay.
Right, because we have a second project. But this first one is a gratitude project. And there are people I know who every day, at the end of the day, they'll write down 10 things they're grateful for. And it sounds so simple, but honestly, what it does is it resets the mind. Because discontentment is like a rerun, right? It's like a movie you have in your mind that keeps rerunning. I wish this were like this. I wish he would be like this. I wish my boss would be like this. I wish my spouse would consider this. I wish my kid would try harder. I wish. And we feel like, well, I'm just hoping for good things for them, right? That's what we're thinking. I'm just wanting good things for them. But the key word is wanting, right? I want. When you move to a space of gratitude or appreciation, you are affirming the attainment that you have. I am so lucky. I am so fortunate that. And if you have a strong discontentment habit or a strong wanting habit, it will take you a little bit to remember what you're grateful for. But trust me, there is so much beauty in your life. And as you start the inventory, you'll say, gosh, I am so lucky that I have these friends. I am so lucky that I have these memories. I am so lucky that I had such a loving dad. I am so lucky that I've got whatever. So this first project is your gratitude project. And you can build it in the morning, you can build it in at night, but it is an antidote to this wanting thing that keeps you feeling empty. Now, the second project is one that I've been working on for some time, about 10 months, and I call it my tolerance project. So I invite you to join my tolerance project. Now, what the tolerance project is, tolerance is one of those powers that can change everything. And it has to do with what happens in your mind when someone, it could be a person, or it could be a situation comes. Sometimes you just have to tolerate something like, the bus doesn't come and you have to wait 40 minutes, or, there's a mechanical problem on the plane and you're on the tarmac for an hour. Sometimes it's that. But a lot of times it is someone who is really annoying you. And maybe someone you cannot move out of your life. They're just really a permanent part of your life. So with the tolerance project, you go back to what you know about sanskars. So you say, this person is always worried. And the fact that he's always worrying kind of makes our whole atmosphere off. So what you do then with your tolerance project is you say to yourself, well, he had things happen when he was growing up that make him worried. And I can't change that in him. But there's something about him that is really lovely. And here's what it is. He's very reliable, or he is good to kids, or he loves animals, or he is a hard worker. He has an excellent work ethic. So in other words, you think about what it is in this one that is their virtue, their goodness, and you shift your thought to that. So you can have this annoying thought, I write this person emails and they don't answer them. Why don't they answer my emails? Because I can't move forward if they don't answer my emails. So if I'm stuck in the they don't answer my emails thing, right? I'm annoyed. They never answer my emails. I've got stacks of unanswered emails from this person. But then I have the thought, I replace it, right? My tolerance project comes in, I replace the thought, I say, okay, this is actually a lovely, reflective, contemplative soul. She's very beautiful. She's a lovely, silent soul. This is a good one to sit and have a cup of tea with. It doesn't change the fact that she doesn't answer my emails, but it refocuses my mind on the virtue that she has, or the specialty that she has. Yeah, Judy, exactly. It's been a big difference for me. And when that happens, I have now changed the inner state of my mind. That's my aim, right? I can't make her answer emails. I mean, I could drive over to her room and sit at her computer and put my hands on top of hers and say, come on, to answer me. Is that going to work? No, it's not going to work. And I've allowed my mind then to get in a big sad place about that. So instead, you say, I can't change this one. But you know what's lovely about them is this. This is their nature. Their nature is that they aren't going to do this. But they have this other lovely quality. Now, this is life-changing. I'll tell you, this business of tolerance is really life-changing. It's quite a power. Because what it does is you allow people to be who they are. You stop wishing they would be someone else. You stop wishing they would have the nice experience that you would like them to have. And you accept they have their own sanskars because of the experience that they had. And so let me stop wanting them to be different. And let me just notice what's lovely in them. Yeah. So you don't, what you're doing is you're stopping this persistent desire for someone to be something else. And I know when we do that, we're thinking that actually it's love, right? We're thinking, well, it's because I love them. I want them to be happy. And that's why I keep telling them that they have to do this thing. They have to get out more, or they have to, go, answer emails or whatever, because then their life will work better. I know that their life will work better. No, because this breaks our rules, right? It breaks the sanskar rule. You can't fix anyone else's sanskars. You can't fix anyone else, right? And you've allowed the thought to sit in your mind that I'm not very happy because this one is like that. Now, if I'm not happy because this one is like that, I'm in a permanent state of discontent. I can't do anything about that. It'd be like getting furious with winter and living in a place like I live. I could do that. I could be upset every day that another foot of snow drops, or I can just say, you know what? It's so lovely when it's new and it's so nice and quiet, and eventually it will melt. We don't notice it. We allow our minds to cling to this wish we have for someone else. And it creates huge discontentment, not only in ourselves, but in our relationships. Do you think someone knows if you want them to be different? Do they know that? Yes. Yes, they know that you don't like the way they are. Of course they do. And so now you've not only made your own mind discontent, you've made the relationship discontent. Now, I know it seems a little harsh because you're saying, well, actually, they're making the relationship discontent because they're being like that. But no, they are being them. They are being them. And all you're doing is learning how to tolerate that. All right, we've got a question from Darshan. How do you tolerate not receiving emails from professional places? I know. Believe me, you were singing my song. You just simply have to find ways around it. Because remember, the important thing to remember is our aim is that you have a contented state, not that you're effective at work, right? You got to pull those things apart. Because if you're thinking, I would be contented if I could be effective at work. No, you can't do that. You have to say, I will be contented when the quality of thoughts in my mind and the quality of feelings in my heart are positive and loving and joyful. Whether my work is effective, or whether my spouse gets their act together, or whether my kid stops screwing up, right? Everyone's doing what they're doing. My job is to keep my mind in a loving place and my heart in a loving and joyful place. So I have to uncouple from my wish that this one would answer emails or that one would quit doing whatever, that I am actually being an instrument for my own unhappiness because I'm so clinging to this state I want for someone else. Are you following? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So first is gratitude project.
Yes, I did understand, but my point is like, especially workplace, when things are so important and you keep sending all the emails and you don't get any kind of answer.
No.
So you are in that kind of a loop and don't know which direction to go.
Right. Well, I'm going to turn a light on here. It's getting a little dark here. So I hear you. I know exactly what you're talking about. But what I'm suggesting is that you cannot make them answer emails. So you have to first see them as lovely in some other way, and then you have to find another solution. You have to either walk over to their desk or, pick up the phone, or you have to find another solution because we get caught in wanting it to be the way it should be. It should be that this person answers emails, right?
So we should stop sending.
You can send, but just don't get upset when they don't answer because it's completely predictable, right? Just like they didn't answer the other 106 times. So if you allow yourself to get upset because they once again didn't answer, then who is the silly one? Right?
Myself, yes.
So you have to say, okay, for whatever reason, this person is unable to answer emails in a timely fashion. Therefore, I will send it. And I might even put a line at the bottom. If I don't hear from you, I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Or if I don't hear from you, I'll call you. Or if I don't hear from you, I'll drive my tank into your office cubicle. Your friend Darshana, right? In other words, there's no point in wishing that this person's going to change. They're not going to change. Because look how much work it's going to take for you to change your sanskar, right? I'm talking with you tonight about a really important subject, that you have the capacity to move to a contented state where you are a 5 on a scale of 5 every day. There's nothing stopping you.
Sister, I think the other person maybe get stronger because they feel that we keep pushing, right?
Well,
So right?
that could be going the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is let it go. See something beautiful in them. Not just let it go, but let it go with some kind of a vision of something lovely in them. And this is going to take us to the third project. So you got the first two. First is the gratitude project. Second is the tolerance project. The third is the bhavana project. Bhavana, that's a Hindi word. It translates as good wishes. Now, when someone behaves badly, they've pulled out in front of you in traffic, they've yelled at you in a meeting, they have not shown up when they said they were going to show up, whatever bad thing they did, our instant reaction is, right? You just want to punch them in the nose, or you want to pull out in front of traffic or honk at them or something, right? I mean, you just want to so. However, what law is relevant here? The law of karma. So if you pull out in traffic, you honk at them, you yell at them, what have you just done? You've just tangled yourself up with them. You've just created a big karmic knot with this person, right? You've just tangled yourself with them, so it becomes inevitable that it will continue to happen. Some version of that. Because whatever we do, what action we take, especially with the intention in our mind, has to come back to us. That's the law of karma. So when someone pulls out in front of you, yells at you in a meeting, does some other rude or bad thing, you have to give them good wishes. What does that mean? May things go well for you. You must be having a bad moment. You must be under a lot of stress. May you be okay. May the day be kind to you. May you find peace. May the people around you give you the space you need, right? And you can't just say it. You've got to feel it. When you respond like that with good wishes, because of the law of karma, that comes back to you. It has to come back to you. So if, and I'm talking here especially, sometimes we have complicated relationships with people in our lives, right? Sometimes, especially people in our families, sometimes those are complicated relationships. And we just have push, pull, push, pull. We just go round and round with them, right? We just can't seem to get out. We try to make them happy. They're not happy. That's called a karmic bondage. The only exit from a karmic bondage is bhavana, good wishes. True good wishes. Not good wishes to you because you're going to need it. You're not that. Real good wishes. In your heart, you have for them real love. You say, you know what? In your head, you're saying you just behaved very badly, but you must be under a lot of stress, right? You must be having a very bad day, and I'm sorry for that. So Darshana is saying it's not easy as original tendencies pop up. So how do you handle? Yeah, realization happens later. Exactly. Well, what I'm going to propose to you is this is what your meditation practice is about. You should be meditating every single day. You should not miss one day. Even if you're not in the mood, even if you don't meditate for so long, you should sit at whatever time you meditate, morning or night, and you invoke those feelings that you're going to need. You invoke unlimited love. You invoke deep and profound peace. You invoke kindness or compassion or joy. Because if you do that every day, then when that person acts out in that meeting and says something rude, instead of reacting, you will respond. You'll take a pause and you'll say, okay, let me give good wishes to you. So you must be under a lot of stress. I'm sure you didn't mean that the way it sounded. I understand things aren't so easy right now. Why don't we take a break? Why don't we get back together in a half hour? Why don't we all take a little break, right? And you'll do that because you have been practicing. Every time you sit for meditation, you're practicing, right? So you can change these patterns of the mind. You can change your mind from a restless or discontented mind into a contented mind. But you have to start by being really determined. You have to say, okay, I'm going to make this my project. I'm going to change my mind. And then you have to remember the things you know, sanskars, your original ones you have that are still there, your original love, sweetness, kindness, humility, joy, compassion, all of those things are still in you, even if they disappeared for a while because of certain experiences. They cannot be taken from you. That's what you, the true self, are made of. So these other experiences came in, they made you worried, or they made you sad, or they made you anxious. But you don't have to live like that. You can change your sanskars. Karma, it has to come back to you. And you can't change anybody else. Keep those points of knowledge. Once you accept, I can't change anybody else, let me become tolerant. Let me become grateful. Let me become one who gives good wishes. Then, because of the laws of karma, your life will change. And it will change pretty quickly. If you actually stay with this every day, I'm not talking about something that maybe after 6 or 8 months you'll begin to see change. No. If you really put this in front of you and you do it every day, meditate every day, watch yourself, be an observer of yourself, you'll see change in a week. Other people will see change. Other people will notice, including the ones you're tangling with. They'll feel the pressure's off somehow, right? That you're just there loving them. And you will feel a beautiful sense of contentment. And what is more important than that, right? What is more important than feeling like I have what I need, right? My life's okay. I have what I need. I don't need anybody else's life. I don't need anybody else to change. I'm good. Life is good. And whatever's going on out there, may I just have good wishes for all of it, not stress about it. I can't do anything about it. If I can't change another person, I certainly can't change a government, right? I mean, if I can't change the person next door. So, yeah. All right, is everyone okay? You want to do a little short meditation together? Anyone have a burning question that you need to?
Not a question, but I just want to thank you very much for the second project. It's going to be my homework really good. So every time the thought comes to my mind about what I want to change, I'm going to change that thought for the good things the person has.
Wonderful. I'm telling you, I've been doing my tolerance project for 9 or 10 months, and it makes a big difference. It will for you too. It'll make you happy. It'll make them happy. So, all right. All right.
Shanti sister, I have a question.
Yeah, Mita.
How do you invoke all our original virtues? Is that like you in a meditation you remind that about our original virtues like peace, love, happiness, joy, and also you visualize, like, create the feelings like the Baba is showering all virtues on you. But
Also,
what are other ways?
let's just do a little meditation right now, right? Because we don't really have much time, so let's just do a little 2-minute, 3-minute meditation. So, and we'll do exactly what Mita just proposed. So, when you're meditating, you just make sure that you are comfortable, right? I usually make sure that either my feet are on the ground or they're folded underneath me, one or the other. My back is straight. And my neck is over my back. And I keep my eyes open. You don't have to. You can close your eyes if you want. But the advantage to keeping your eyes open is that you don't fall asleep. And you can also, another advantage is you can really do it anywhere you are, right? You can meditate on a bus if you want. So you just let your eyes kind of rest. They can rest looking down at the ground or at your lap, or you can look at a candle if you want. It's just keeping your eyes, they're soft. They're sometimes called soft eyes. Now you pull your attention away from the outside world. So much going on out there. So you pull your attention away from that. It'll be there when you come back. And you just take a deep breath. And then you acknowledge your body with all its little aches and pains and all of that. A quiet little grateful thought for how well it serves you. And then you pull your attention away from your body. And take another deep breath. And now become aware that you're not this name, this role, this personality. You're not the landlord, the manager, the wife. You're the true self. You're an eternal being of light. And the seat on which this being sits, the soul sits, is right behind the eyes. So take your seat right behind the eyes, in the middle of the forehead. And become aware that in your original state and your eternal state, you are peace. And you are contentment. You don't have to go look for peace. You have always had access to peace. It's your nature. So invite the inner experience of peace to fill your awareness. Your mind is peace. Your heart is peace. Every cell in your body is peace. And become aware that each thought we hold creates a vibration. So sitting in peace, you find you're in the middle of a whole field of peace, a lake of peace, an ocean of peace. And now think of one soul who right this moment needs that peace that you are, and allow your experience of peace to move to that soul and touch them with peace. Now bring your attention back to the space you're in, but don't let the peace leave your awareness. Hold on to that experience of peace and contentment. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.